Hey everyone, and welcome to another video. This is my first review of the year, so very excited to start off the year this way. So I'm going to be reviewing the second season of Percy Jackson, since it recently ended on Wednesday. I've always loved Percy Jackson. I started reading it in 5th grade, I believe, and read it until early middle school. I've only read the first 5 books, so I'm behind in a lot of things, but regardless, I still enjoyed it a lot, and it's one of my favorites. When I watched the second season, there were a few things I noticed. Not a lot, because obviously I don't remember the most, because I haven't read it in a long time. I did, though, start rereading it before the show came out, but I finished chapter 12. I got to chapter 13, but I didn't get very far into it. So what I remembered was very little. But one thing I noticed that was the biggest difference for me was in the first episode, where Percy and Tyson meet the Lastrygonians, which in the show, it's at camp, or they're on the way to camp, and they get hit with fireball. But in the book, in chapter 2, I play dodgeball with cannibals. They're actually in school, and they actually play dodgeball with them. So that was an interesting change, though I guess it makes sense because it increases the pace and you can get through a lot more quicker, because obviously you have to put a lot into each episode to have a certain amount of episodes, which wasn't terrible, but they're not really playing dodgeball at that point, because in the book they were literally playing dodgeball. But a second thing that I recognized was, I don't remember which episode it was, but one of the episodes where it's based on chapter 12, we check into Cece's spa and resort. It was very different, because I remembered Cersei being a lot less hospitable in a sense, because in this one, she's talking them through and helps the heroes train, helps them do this and that, and supposedly it's a place where they get better and stuff, opposed to just she takes them in, turn them into guinea pigs or animals or whatever, and that's that. Because in this one, she talks to Annabeth and Percy, and Annabeth goes over with Hyla to get a tour and whatever, and she's talking with Percy like, oh, the first thing is you need to accept that you're not happy, you're not satisfied with how you look, and the whole thing. And then it's like, oh yeah, you want to change? Great. And then gives them a drink, and then boom, guinea pig. And I'm like, that is not at all what happened in the show. But to be fair, I feel like it did make Cersei seem less antagonistic, and I did like her more in the show because she wasn't like that. And in the book, Cece tries to convince Annabeth, oh, you don't want to be an architect. What? No, you should be a sorceress like me. Whereas in the show, she's like, oh, you need to go through the program, and you have to, it might take a while for you to really overcome hubris. Is that the word? I forgot what word she used. To overcome that, and then you'll be ready to go past the sirens. And I'm just like, it's very different from the book. Very different. But nonetheless, I still liked it. I don't remember what else was much different between the book and the show. I did love that they used Emotions by Mariah Carey to scare off the birds, whose name I also have forgotten, because it was perfect. It was really high. That was funny. Really quick, I just wanted to pause and say thank you guys so much for all your support. We are almost to 1,000 subscribers, and I think that if we can reach it, then I can definitely do the video next week. But I just wanted to pause and say that really quick. Back to the review, though. I think Clarice's character was able to have a lot more screen time and development in the show compared to the book, which I think is really great, because in the show it makes her less of a bully and more of, less of a bully and more just insecure in a sense. And we get to really go deeper into her emotions and who she really is and why she does, in a sense, what she does. Because a lot of it, I think, stems from the fact that she want to prove herself to Ares, which makes sense. She's very complicated. I also feel like Kronos wasn't as prominent in the book as he was in the show, which he wasn't super prominent, but when they were on the Princess Andromeda the second time, Percy actually gets to speak to Kronos, and Luke interacts with Kronos, and there's a whole thing, which maybe they did do that in the book. I just don't remember it. But I feel like there was a lot more there. And Percy, I feel like he's pretty similar. I honestly should probably reread it. I'm hoping to reread the third book before the third season comes out to have a much better review for that, at least. But Percy has a lot of doubts in this season about himself, which I don't remember from the books either, which maybe it could have been. But regardless, I love Percy's character. He's very funny and he's very enjoyable. He's very likable. And Thalia, I don't remember her coming off as aggressive as I feel like she did in this as she did in the show. And on the thought of Thalia, Annabeth, her whole thing with the Cyclops, I don't think it was a super big thing as it was in the show, because they kept coming back to the fact that she was scared of and or disliked Cyclopses to a really extreme extent because of what happened to her, which we also get to visibly see what happened, opposed to just reading it, which again, I think that was really well done. It was so funny seeing Grover in the wedding dress because I was like, oh yeah, that happens. And then I was like waiting because they hadn't shown it. And I was like, oh, yep, there it is. And I'm like, that had to have been so awkward wearing that. And they did a really good job with Polyphemus too. He was very interesting. And the fact that Annabeth was like, oh yeah, nobody. Remember that? I was like, oh gosh. She said that. I was like, oh no. I'm like, maybe angering Polyphemus isn't the best option. It worked, but still. And I love the part where Annabeth and Percy wear the sheep wool over them to disguise themselves as sheep. And I also thought that Polyphemus was completely blind, but he's not. Or at least as it relates to Percy Jackson and that whole thing, he's not completely blind, which I guess would make everything too easy to just get by and do things. But it was really clever that he painted sheep wool gold to trick them into grabbing that. I thought that was very clever. Oh my gosh. And then Percy's line at Cersei's, I realize I'm jumping around through different episodes, but it's what it is. I don't have a script. I'm just saying things to say things. But the part with Percy and Annabeth, where Percy's like, if I had to choose between saving Olympus or saving you, Annabeth, I'd burn it all down. I was not ready for that. I was not ready for that at all. That was definitely not in the book. I feel so confident that wasn't in the book. And maybe it was, but I really, really, really doubt it. And I loved that part so much. I was completely thrown off by that. And the fact that we just keep coming back to the fact that Percy's whole thing is that he would do anything to save his friends, which is completely accurate. But he's continuously willing to jeopardize the quest just to save Annabeth. It's Annabeth every single time. To the point of giving Luke the golden fleece, which I was like, he's going to leave with that. I knew he was going to leave with that. That didn't surprise me that he left, but I didn't realize he was going to take Annabeth with him. I was like, oh, I guess so. We can do that too. I was also very excited to see Blackjack because I just think he's cool, just because he is. It is very sad to me that Lance Reddick is no longer able to play Zeus because I realized that when Zeus was going to come on screen, I was like, it's not him. But I do like the actor that they have for him now. I wish that it could have been Lance Reddick, but may he rest in peace. But overall, I thoroughly enjoyed this season. It was really good. I think they did a really good job with this. And the end is very cliffhangery, but it's very intense to the point where it's like something big is going to happen next. And that definitely wasn't in the book, because I feel like that the book ended off on a lighter note than the show did, for sure. The tension between Thalia and Percy was so thick. It was so intense. Now for my scoring of Percy Jackson Season 2, The Sea of Monsters. For seasonal consistency, I'd give it a solid 9. For character arcs, I would give that a 10 for sure, because a lot of the characters that maybe didn't have as much development in the book definitely got it here, and in general, it was done wonderfully, so that definitely gets a 10. Plot progression, I would probably say 8, because some parts did feel a little rushed, and some things were cut and arranged differently to progress the plot quicker, which wasn't terrible, but I give it an 8. World building, I think it does a pretty good job of that. I'll give that an 8 also. For acting and casting, I give that a 9. I really like the actress they got for Thalia. That was cool. And, of course, the normal cast, the original cast, is also really good. Production quality, oh, so good. It's amazing. You can tell a lot was put into this. That's a 10 for sure. Rewatch value. Oh, I would definitely rewatch it. Absolutely. So that's going to get a 9? Yes, that's going to get a 9. Because I could totally rewatch it. Which brings us out to a 9 out of 10. Which, it's a good rating. It's a good season. They did a good job. But that's all I have for this one. And I hope you enjoyed and have a blessed day. Peace out.